Is this you, sick of being stuck outside the boss's tornado, just politely waiting your turn so you can actually go attack? Then marksman weapons are the things for you, and I'll explain why. So there are 3 types of marksman weapons in Wayfinder. You do have your shotgun, which is a very close range, high damage, guard breaking option, as you might expect. The rune cannon is a longer range, armor piercing, high critical option. And then you have the rifle class, which is kind of in the middle range, middle armor piercing, but puts out more bullets more consistently, which has a lot of different applications with stuff that affects per hit. One common complaint, we'll say, I've heard about the guns is they're lame, they're boring, they're not so active. There's a lot of activity to the guns. You do have your hotspot reload, you can see here. You have to push reload again when it's in the middle of that section. That will give you a significant bonus, which depends many possible different options depending on your build and the weapon you're using. Secondly is the eagle eye mechanic. You've seen those weak spots if you've used a gun on the enemy. Those appear simply by shooting an enemy. You will fill up a yellow bar along the middle edge of the reticle. You'll then hear the eagle cry and see the weak point appear. Shooting that weak point will deal a bunch of extra damage, may activate some perks depending on your build, and will give you a charge of your weapon's special ability, allowing you to perform a more powerful version of attack or buff. And one myth I have seen is that survivalists are explicitly better with guns than the other classes due to exposed weakness. You can read exposed weakness right there on the screen. On a critical hit, it exposes the enemy and they take more damage. It's got nothing to do with guns, nothing to do with eagle eyes. I just thought I'd mention that because I have seen mentioned several times. Survivalists do tend to have more ranged abilities, which does play more in with guns, whereas War Masters tend to have a lot of up-close abilities. Even Arcanists tend to be kind of mid-range, but there's no explicit advantage to the survivalist using the gun, even though they are the default ones that come with them. But when we are talking class-specific with the guns, of course, in your Wayfinder tree, which can be accessed through your talent tree, look at the bottom right for the prompt, you see it. This is the tree that goes up passively no matter what you do, no matter which Wayfinder you're playing on, and you'll eventually get rank 30 and unlock all possible passives. Here you can see the War Masters, their special passive, Grendel is our example case, but it's the same for all 3 War Masters, is Marksman Brawler, which improves damage and break damage of rifle attacks by 10% to enemies within close range. Rifle there is a mistake as far as I know, and it applies to all marksman weapons. This couples quite well with the shotgun passive, which is an additional 25% break damage to let War Masters break guard with weapons, like guns. Swapping to an Arcanist, for example, here they have Magic Chamber, in which their standard shot deal bonus ability damage based on how empty the clip is, up to 60% of ability power. Isn't that a mouthful of math, right? Basically, Arcanists tend to build ability power, even when they're across all their weapon types. If I had scrolled over to the other 2, it's very similar. They add their ability power to their weapon damage as well, so they don't really need weapon power so much. In this case, the important thing if you are using a gun with an Arcanist is to make sure you are not reloading early. You want that mostly empty clip, and it synergizes best with rifles that have big clips. For survivalists on a hotspot reload get up to plus 16% crit chance based on the amount of shots reloaded for 10 seconds. Again, do not reload your gun early. It's just generally a good idea in principle. There's several other buffs in the game that work on the same logic. This one doesn't specifically synergize with any particular weapon. It is slightly better on rifles and rune cannons than shotguns, because shotguns have smaller magazines, but not by a whole lot. It does stack nicely with the fact that both survivalists also have other ways to boost their crit chance with their abilities, meaning they often only need to build crit power and don't actually need to build crit rating or crit chance, because they can just literally force criticals with this sort of stuff. So for some top picks, the best shotgun by not even a competition is still the Tempest, even though it was nerfed from its original Beater of Worlds version. Basically, up close, break some guard, lay down some heavy damage, get those eagle eye shots, and you'll get to release the entire magazine at once for some mega damage to the face. Over on the rifle side, we've got Nightshade. This comes with Venomous, or you may find it later in the game. Basically, this is a rifle that takes full advantage of the rifles having a higher magazine and rate of fire by inflicting poison stacks with every single hit for a whole pile of additional DPS. Also stacks with Venom's own poison and all the perks associated with that. The special ability of the Nightshade on an Eagle Eye shot is to reload a double magazine called Wyvern Heart and go full auto. Direct homage to the Monster Hunter ability of basically the same name, where they pull out the chain gun and go ham on the monster. Pretty much outperforming most of the other rifles, which have more mild abilities. Rune cannons are actually all pretty good at their job, but my personal pick is the Dustbringer. Not for its main attack, but its special attack, which is a Vortex Bomb that gives you some additional AoE that you can drop down on enemies, particularly if you can get them stationary. It's so good I can't even actually show you on a regular enemy. So here's a boss. You'll see me get the Eagle Eye hit to charge it up, and then I'm going to drop the Vortex, and you can see it start to tick away on him there, and then I'm going to taunt him into it with my little clone here as well. So yeah, that's a very quick overview of Marksman weapons and Wayfinder. Hopefully we provide some education. You can kind of start putting together some builds to make use of all these different traits that you may or may not have known about. If you have found the video informative, remember to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already so I know to keep the builds and everything coming. You can see in the back here we are now toasting this rat dude because we don't actually have to get close to him. And thanks for watching.